Hey guys, Nike here. I was going to do a warrior build update because a lot's changed in the last month since the patch went live that drastically changed warriors, and most of it's been pretty good. Start out, just a real quick overview. We use Berserker's Armor and Runes of the Scholar for max DPS, and that hasn't changed. Weapons are still Axe, Mace, Greatsword, Sigil of Night or Force, depending on what you prefer, and Sigil of Battle on the Mace. Trinkets will also be Berserker's Ascended. Other gear that I keep a one-handed sword just to leap around to various places for mobility. I keep a longbow for times when I have to range because it's better than rifle. I keep a war horn for open world moving around and even in dungeons where there's a lot of running. And I also put my stacking sigil on there, which I'll get to in a minute. And I have a backup axe with a stacking sigil of Bloodlust, and I'll get back to that. And I have a shield of energy for fighting Lupicus and other places in Ara where you need a shield. So going back to the couple changes that have gone down. After playing with the build for a while and crunching the numbers and being able to look at everything, what we have found out is that Signet of Fury is about 1% better than Signet of Might in this build. And so generally in this empty slot, since for Great Justice and the banner is pretty much a given, in our free slot we're going to use Signet of Fury instead of Signet of Might or instead of Frenzy. Although you still do bring Frenzy for some fights where you know you won't have a time warp and the fight is very short. Also, on the same token, I kind of found out that Sigil of Perception is slightly better in this build than Bloodlust by a percent or two. Not that huge of a difference, but still, if it's better, and that's what you should use. There are times when you want to use Bloodlust, particularly you want to use Bloodlust when you don't have a lot of might stacking. If you're in some pug and there's no might, like organized might stacking, and you're not getting anywhere near 25 stacks of might, Bloodlust is actually a little bit better. If you're in an organized group where you know that your might is going to be taken care of and you're going to be at least 15 stacks of might or capped out at 25, then you should definitely go with Perception. But just be aware that in random groups, Bloodlust is still viable and still good. Traits, same as before. We have dual wielding for 5% while wielding axe, mace, or sword in your offhand. Since we have mace, we're good to go there. Slashing power, 10% for greatsword, needs no explanation. Stick and move, another 3% damage. And Berserker's power, which now actually works, gets you to 15% DPS boost, which is pretty great. Going into tactics, we have Empower Allies, which is one of the #1 reasons to bring a warrior now in a dungeon besides their own personal DPS. Empower Allies is a huge boost for your whole team. One thing that happened in this patch was that Empowered got nerfed from 2% per boon to 1%. That changes things a little bit. Previously, Empowered was a little bit better for your personal DPS than Empowered Allies. However, now Empowered Allies is about 1.1% better than Empowered, even if you're solo. So generally what happens in a group, if one warrior has Empower Allies, then you can go ahead and take Empowered. But even when you're just running around solo open world, Empower Allies is actually the better trait to take, because the 150 power works out to be, like I said, 1.1% better than Empowered, assuming 3 boons. Once you start adding more than 3 boons, then Empowered becomes a little bit better. But when running solo, again, Empower Allies is probably a little bit better. Down in Discipline, we have Signet Mastery. Signet's 20% faster. It's pretty obvious. It's a good trait to have. Destruction of the Empowered. But I found Sharpen Axes didn't really do anything. It was providing nothing that we liked. It wasn't the only skill that we were really using that for. was Cyclone Axe, but we found with the 6-second cooldown, you were almost never waiting for Cyclone Axe to recharge anyway. It was always up when you needed it up. So bringing Sharpened Axes really didn't do anything for us. Whereas there are definitely some situations where Destruction of the Empowered actually does something for you, so that was good. Again, Fast Hands is the key to the build. It helps you stack might in conjunction with the Signet of Battle and with versatile power. So you're able to maintain 8 stacks of might just from swapping your weapons, which along with the base 3 for Great Justice and the base 5 from Signet of Rage is a pretty decent amount of might just to have on your own. And lastly, Heightened Focus, 15% chance to crit when your adrenaline's full is now actually working and quite good, and completely eliminates the need to go into the arms line, which aside from Rending Strikes has no traits that we would actually want except for Attack of Opportunity. But as it is, this build, with all the numbers crunched as they are, works out to be a few percent better than any build that goes into arms for Attack of Opportunity. So that is basically the updates of where we're at and what we're running at this point. One other thing I wanted to touch on was that as far as food goes, sweet and sour, or sweet and spicy butternut squash soup, is a little bit better than curry butternut squash soup, which you might say, well, why is that? Well, the difference is if you're using perception stacks, what will happen is you'll get to a 100% chance to crit. So that the extra precision from curry butternut squash soup will do nothing for you, whereas the 100 power will continue to go up forever. So this is really what you want to be looking at when it comes to max DPS food. They're close. It's only a few percent here or there, or 1% here or there. But when you're already hitting 100% chance to crit, you don't really need this. And this is the best food if you want to do the big numbers. That's basically it. That's the updates. I'm going to include links to a couple things like the spreadsheet that I use to calculate builds in my info, as well as link to the build guide. So go ahead and check those out. And if you have any questions, definitely hit me up in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.